Good afternoon. So, today we're going to be discussing the background of Beowulf, and then there'll be a second video following, part 2, which will go into the text itself. Okay. So, in Schoology, in week 10, there's a new folder that says Beowulf, and it is a black color. Once you open that up, there's some additional files in here with new information. So first off, I'm going to open what I've labeled original sheet. This is a copy of the actual document where we get Beowulf from. This is the oldest version of the poem. And when you look at it, you can see this is indeed in Old English. This is the language that the Anglo-Saxons spoke. Okay. This is the beginnings of English history, of English literature. The reason we study this poem is because it is in Old English. Even though the material in the poem deals with the Nordic countries further north in Europe, it's because it was recorded in Old English by a monk. Okay. So when you look at this top line here, this is actually an H. This is an early letter form that represented what we today have as a W. This letter form here, the A and the E combined, is called an ash, and this is a T. So this opening word is pronounced Wat, H-W-A-E-T, or H-W-T. It basically means hark or listen. The poet Scop is standing in front of the audience and saying, "Here I am, be prepared to listen to this grand poem, this epic, this major undertaking." Okay. The document, as you can see, has survived quite a bit of history just on itself. So this was penned, inked down somewhere in the 1000s. It has survived a fire. It has survived it has survived a war. It has survived the building collapsing that was holding it. So as it has now been taped down to in the 1800s, it was taped down to another page to preserve it. So that's why the ragged edges from the fire have this white border around them. And in fact, it survived the flood. So it survived all these calamities. Going back to the folder. So that's one sheet of the original poem. The other thing of importance that I wanted to show you, since I mentioned the letters, here is the opening of their letter, of their alphabet. Always have to wait dramatically for the file to open. Okay. So what I've represented here are the uppercase and lowercase. And as you can see, it is missing the letter J, the letter K, the letter Q, and the letter Z. What it has in addition, or what I mentioned before, the letter ash, the letter Eth. It looks like the same as the letter D with a slash mark through it. And it also has the letter thorn, which is similar to the letter P. It's like the P and the B, lowercase p and b combined. So the thorn and the F both represent TH as a letter form. So depending where you lived in England, one or the other would have been chosen. So this is, in essence, the medieval Anglo-Saxon, Old English, that wide range of years of the alphabet they were using. And again, the W started out with this letter form over here, and it eventually became this letter form that we are more known at. It's known commonly today. One other point, just quickly, the letter J, as I mentioned, is missing. If you think in Spanish how the J is silent, that's based on the Latin concept. So the Romans, the ancient Romans, where Latin comes from, did not have a J as well. That's a more modern letter form. So the important names in the Bible, like John, Jesus, Joseph, they would have been spelled with the letter I, and the pronunciation would have been closer to the Spanish. So that's where that stands. So the other thing to keep in mind, the story goes, a monk is transcribing down the material. And just as a quick overview, there's many speculations of why he was doing this. Primarily, he's preserving material from his childhood or from his life that he feels worthy of being included in a text. And he has embellished it slightly with more Roman Catholic emphasis. Okay. So as we read along, it'll be obvious when the Roman Catholic version embellishments show up. Okay. One other quick point, the word what, the opening word, like I said, it has multiple interpretations. In the beginning, we thought it meant hark or hearken or listen to me. The perfect translation of the word has been lost over time. In fact, when you look at the Seamus Heaney version, he translates it simply as the word so. In a second, I'll show you 4 different versions of the text. So I have an article out here, and here's a picture of Mr. Heaney. He basically simply went with a very mundane, very subtle, colloquial so. And his logic is basically that the audience would have already known the story, and when the scop appears in front of the audience to present the material, he would not have had to say, okay, guys, shut up and sit down. You got to listen to me. He's basically providing just a quick signal of, yo, here I am. And then he presents the material. Right here, this last file that I'm showing you will have 4 versions of the text. One will be the original Old English, and the other are three different interpretations. Again, we pause dramatically for the file to open. I'll make this large. So what we have here are the first 11 lines. And on the far left, this is what it appears in Old English. If you remember from yesterday, I talked about caesuras. This is more example of a caesura, this spacing in the middle of the lines. Seamus Heaney's translation is down here. And then again, there's his opening word, so. More traditionally, we would have used words like hail or hearken. This translation up here, for example, uses the word what. And that's more of a phonetic echo of the original word, what. Okay, so just so you get a sense of the original soundings. This one even incorporated the idea of the caesuras in every line as well. Again, that's a mnemonic device. And you can see subtle changes between the text. Okay. I think I'm ready to close this video down and start the second. Oh, one last thing. This is real short. I wanted you to hear the actual original text. So these are the opening lines performed in Old English. So cross your fingers. Let's hope this actually will work. And let me increase the volume just to be sure we got it. Okay. So he's going to perform the opening lines.
What way gar dana in yar dagum feud kuninga thrim ye frunon hutha athalingus ellen fremido oft child shaving shadden a threatum monigum maigthum meru setna oftel exode erlas suthan arest word fashaft fund hidas frovra yebad Weox under hoknum, weorth mundum tha, o that him aig wilch thara sitindra, over hron rade, hiran shulde, gomban yildan.
So I just wanted to give you a basic idea of what Old English sounded like, and it sounds sort of Scottish, sort of Norwegian. It's a mixture of a lot of different language in itself. The modern sounds of English didn't develop until after the Norman invasion, and that's coming up when we talk about Chaucer next semester. That's it for this video, part 1. Again, as I've been saying, if you have any questions, just let me know. Send me a message and we'll be talking soon.